Zhang Yiming was the CEO of Bydance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok. And as he watched the news, his heart was racing.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
TikTok had already been banned in India, losing them 200 million users overnight. Now, TikTok was at the center of an international feud, with users and governments all around the world asking the same question: can we trust TikTok? Zhang was simultaneously being called a spy by the Americans and a traitor by the Chinese, and other accusations were flying around from all directions. TikTok is a data collection service thinly veiled as a social network. It's secretly loaded with surveillance software for the Chinese government, the most addictive social media app of all time. They're discriminating against the disabled. It's essentially malware that's targeting children. TikTok is a magnet for predators. Wait, take a breath. Zhang switched off the news and reminded himself that despite all of the negative media attention that TikTok was getting, business was going incredibly well. If you added up the combined revenue of Twitter, Zoom, Dropbox, Lyft, Snapchat, Shopify, Airbnb, Stripe, Groupon, and Spotify all together, it still wouldn't be as high as the revenue of Bydance. The company's biggest product by far is TikTok, which in less than 4 years has passed 3 billion global downloads. But Bydance are now working on several other apps that perhaps have even bigger potential. They already make more money than Netflix, have around double the employees of Facebook, and are expanding worldwide at an unprecedented speed. And yet, how much do you really know about Bydance? Sure, you've seen TikTok promoted everywhere, and possibly use it yourself, but did you ever stop to think how this simple Chinese video app suddenly took over the world? You see, if you're like me and had dismissed TikTok as just a cringy app for kids lip-syncing and dancing, you're wrong. In less than a decade, Bydance have gone from a 4-bedroom apartment in China where the electricity kept cutting out to becoming a global empire that is shaping not just social media, but technology, politics, and much, much more. The inside story of how it happened is incredibly inspiring and fascinating. But make no mistake, America's tech giants are terrified of Bydance. And the real question is, should you be terrified too? Bydance is an app factory. Whilst TikTok is by far their most successful app, when the company launched in 2012, they created 12 different apps within just a few months. These included titles such as Laugh So Much You'll Get Pregnant and Real Beauties, Everyday 100 Beautiful Girls. At this point, it was hard to imagine the colossal impact Bydance was going to have on the world. In fact, they were even struggling to hire people because of the lowbrow reputation they developed early on. The company's founder, Zhang Yiming, always had big plans. He was inspired by business magnates like Steve Jobs, and had a dream of one day building a global company that was as borderless as Google. This was an even more ambitious goal than it sounds, because China essentially operates a separate internet to the rest of the world. Big platforms we all know, like YouTube and Facebook, are banned in China. And likewise, internet companies that start in China almost never manage to take their services worldwide. So Zhang knew that to defy the odds and build a global empire, Bydance needed to think bigger with the apps they were creating. Then, one day in 2012, he had an epiphany. While sat on a train, he noticed the decline in people reading newspapers and the sharp increase in phone usage, and deduced that we would soon get all our information from phones. But most importantly, he also realized that getting information from our phones meant we didn't have to rely on people to select the information for us. Through a combination of AI, big data, and machine learning, it would be possible to personalize the information to each individual and show them the content they personally are most interested in. And thus, Bydance's next app was born, Toutiao, which translates as headlines. A news app with a powerful recommendation algorithm that provided a feed of news stories tailored to each user. Zhang said, "We want to become the information platform that understands you best. Uber matches people to cars, we match people to information." The idea was simple, but at the time, quite revolutionary. By tracking every single tap, pause and swipe, Bydance's algorithm was quickly able to understand users better than they understood themselves. Instead of just getting a random list of articles curated by someone else, the algorithm would be able to figure out exactly which news stories users would be most interested in, and give them a unique, personalized feed. And the more they used the app, the more the algorithm learned about them, so the more accurate its recommendations became. As a result, it was very addicting and a huge success. So much so that other companies soon started copying the idea. And Bydance knew they needed to keep innovating, or else a rival with a bigger budget would beat them. Luckily, Zhang had another epiphany. And this one wasn't just gonna change the company, it was gonna change the world.
I'm addicted to TikTok now.
I've just downloaded it myself and I can't take my eyes off the videos.
It's reported that the average user of Headlines, the news app Bydance created, spends 74 minutes per day on the app. Is this because people were suddenly more interested in news? Of course not. It's because if you design an incredibly smart algorithm that learns what people like and keeps giving them more of it, it's gonna get people hooked. But Zhang had realized, why stop at news and information? So they took the same addictive algorithm from their Headlines app and created a new app for short videos. Now, you're probably thinking this new video app was TikTok, and you're half right. In 2017, they launched the international version of TikTok we all know, and we'll get to that very soon. But in 2016, Bydance launched Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok. Same premise, same logo, same interface, but China has its own segregated version, which came first. And there's a few notable differences. Firstly, it had a section called Positive Energy, with selected videos that promote the Chinese government. Secondly, it had advanced facial recognition, where you can search for videos by tapping a face, a feature which led to lawsuits when Bydance considered introducing it on TikTok. The Chinese version also makes people's skin appear lighter by default, in line with China's whitening obsession. In short, the Chinese version of TikTok is the same app with some major cultural differences. But one thing is very much the same on both versions: the powerful algorithm. It's unique because it isn't built around your social network. You don't have to friend, follow, subscribe, or even search for anything. You just open the app, start swiping, and the algorithm will get better and better at understanding which videos to show you. And because you consume so many short videos in just a few minutes, it gives the algorithm so much data about what content you do and don't like. You could watch 100 videos in a single session, as opposed to something like YouTube, where you may only watch a small handful. And since you're not reliant on your social circle for content, you'll never run out of interesting videos to watch. You're just one flick away from something totally random and new. Psychologists have found parallels between this and the effect of playing a slot machine in a casino. So when you combine that with the never-ending scroll effect, which tricks our brains into not knowing when to stop using the app, it's easy to see why people get sucked in. Bydance even added a feature where when you press the back button, it shows you a new video. You have to double tap the button to actually get out of the app.
Now we're going to look back at the effects of what that does to the brain. What effect does that have on the rest of your life?
However, whilst Bydance had no problem getting people to watch their new video app, they knew that an addictive algorithm was useless if they didn't have enough people creating videos as well. And thus, they launched a genius 5-part plan to get creators on board. Step 1. Lower the barrier to entry. Competition on social media had become tough. Filming simple selfie videos was no longer enough to blow up on YouTube. You needed to learn how to use editing software, create thumbnails, and countless other things, which made it difficult for young new creators to get started. So, Bydance made posting videos ridiculously easy, with built-in editing functions in the app. You could even apply filters and add music to make the video immediately seem way more professional and interesting. Then, step 2. Challenges. If you remember the viral Ice Bucket Challenge in 2014, well, so did Bydance. They realized that if they created challenges within the app that were easy for people to replicate, like a certain dance, it meant people didn't even have to think about original creative content. They could join in by just doing the challenge. Which then leads to step 3. Give them a taste of fame. If you look on any social media forums, you'll find plenty of people complaining about how hard it is to beat the algorithm with YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And in stark contrast, you'll find plenty of people raving about how easily their TikTok videos blew up.
I literally gained like 1 million followers in about the space of like 6 weeks.
Basically, Bydance realized that by sharing the love around a lot of creators, they'd attract way more people wanting to make videos for the app. It was like a new gold rush for everyone who had gotten late on other social media. You could join TikTok and on your first video rack up millions of views. And by giving creators a dose of fame and a hit of dopamine, it encouraged them to recruit more people to the app by telling their audience to come and follow them on TikTok. But then Bydance started to notice a bit of a problem. Making the barrier of entry so low meant they got an equally low quality of content. They had plenty of people posting videos, but a lot of it was just kids lip syncing or dancing to songs. So then came step 4 of the plan: bribe the top talent. Bydance messaged creative influencers with big followings on other platforms and offered to pay them to come and post on their app. They also reportedly went to art schools to find good-looking creative students and promised to make them famous. Once they'd attracted some higher quality content, they manipulated the algorithm to make sure it got a lot of views to try and improve people's perceptions of how good the content on the app was. And then finally, step 5, nurture relationships. They assigned the top creators account managers who would sometimes even help them with school assignments and relationship issues to make sure the users were able to create lots of content. And thus, Bydance had done it. Using this strategy in China, Douyin went viral. Of course, plenty of other Chinese companies had tried to copy them. But remember, the more you use Bydance's apps, the more the algorithm learns about you, which means you get served even better content recommendations, which means you use the app more, and this creates a never-ending cycle of improvements. As a result, very few people wanted to switch to any of these competitor apps that popped up. Bydance had cracked the code in China, and now they wanted to replicate this success worldwide. In 2017, they officially launched their international version of the app, TikTok. And whilst Zhang Yiming had always been a very ambitious man, even he couldn't have predicted the insanity that was about to begin. You're a company with an app that's incredibly popular in China, but now you want to compete worldwide against the biggest tech giants. Do you A. poach lots of the top employees from rivals like Facebook and YouTube by offering them higher wages? B. Pay top influencers from Facebook and YouTube to come and post on TikTok instead? Or C. Pour billions of dollars into running ads on Facebook and YouTube so you can literally siphon off users from your competitors? Trick question. Bydance did all 3. You see, TikTok's success should never have been able to happen. The current kings of user-generated content could have stopped it, but they underestimated TikTok and didn't realize they were a serious competitor until it was too late. By which point, TikTok had stolen many of their employees, creators, and viewers. Of course, the reason everyone underestimated them is because TikTok's growth rate is unprecedented. They went from nowhere to everywhere insanely quickly. So how did they do it? Now, when Bydance launched the Chinese version of TikTok, they used a few slightly questionable promotion techniques. For example, they'd made deals with phone shops to unbox the devices, pre-install their app, and then reseal the box, so the app was already there when users switched on their new phone. However, with the international version of TikTok, one of their first genius marketing tricks was right out in the open for everyone to see. They initially encouraged users to share their TikTok videos on other social media. Which sounds strange at first. Why would TikTok want to make it easy for people to repost TikToks on Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, and so on? Simple. Because every TikTok video contains a watermark in the corner promoting their app. I'm willing to bet that even if you've never downloaded TikTok in your life, you've seen a video with the TikTok watermark. It's the ultimate free publicity. And remember, TikTok had made it so much easier to create content thanks to the in-app editing functions. So people would create videos on TikTok, then go and post them on all their other social media, giving TikTok endless free marketing. The Bydance team would even make fake accounts on other social media themselves and just repost lots of the best TikTok videos. Because they knew that if you see that TikTok watermark enough, eventually you'll go and download the app yourself. But as well as free promotion, the TikTok team did plenty of paid ads too. Now, to create an ad campaign, most companies hire expensive consultants, recording studios, editors, actors, designers, etc. But Bydance just used videos people had uploaded to TikTok as ads. Their terms and conditions gave them permission to do that. Then, all that money they saved on not making ads meant they had more money to invest in actually running ads across all major platforms. They initially targeted highly populated cities with low CPMs, like some of the poorest cities in India. This got them a lot of downloads quickly and cheaply, which shot the app to the top of the App Store, thus attracting lots of free publicity. Once TikTok had some momentum, they targeted micro-influencers with 5 to 10k followers on other social media, and promised to make them stars on TikTok if they started posting content on the app. Many of these influencers were frustrated by the slow growth on other social media, so they gladly made the switch to TikTok. Then TikTok stepped it up. They began targeting big influencers, like those with 1 million followers and above, by offering them big cash payments to come and post on TikTok. According to the Wall Street Journal, Bydance even paid $1 million to get one unnamed influencer to post a video on TikTok. Whilst it may seem ridiculous, having celebrities using the platform attracted lots of new users and advertisers. Not just that, but it brought in investors. Just about every venture capital firm was looking to find the next Facebook. And seeing different stars joining the platform led to some investors plowing billions of dollars into TikTok, which Bydance reinvested into even more advertising. At one point, they were spending $3 million per day on ads. The focus was just pure growth, not profit. But one of the biggest keys to success was that Bydance made many acquisitions of other companies that helped fuel TikTok's growth. Many of these were AI companies that could help improve their algorithm even further. But also, whenever TikTok expanded into a new area, they tried to acquire a local company who had good knowledge and experience of the city. However, Bydance's most influential acquisition of all was Musical.ly, a short video app that was very similar to TikTok, especially with its emphasis on using songs in videos. The app was struggling a little bit, but it did have a solid user base in the US, especially amongst very young users. So buying this was a cost-effective way for Bydance to get new users from a new market. Bydance later merged Musical.ly and TikTok together, which a lot of Musical.ly users were unhappy with at first. But they soon got on board when they realized the TikTok algorithm was better. Now, whilst all of this might seem too easy, you have to remember Bydance already had a formula to follow from all their experiences with the Chinese version of the app. For example, they knew how important it was to make the barrier of entry so low for creators. So they had a whole team creating beautifying filters to make people look better so they didn't feel self-conscious about posting videos. TikTok also copied many of the popular challenges over from the Chinese version so that there were lots of easy but fun challenges for people to participate in when they downloaded TikTok. And then one day, something surprising happened. It was early morning in the Bydance headquarters. The marketing team were feeling tired. It had been an exhausting few months, and Bydance have the same 996 working culture as many other Chinese tech companies, which means you work 9 AM to 9 PM 6 days a week. You get paid very well with lots of bonuses available, but it's intense to say the least. So everyone was a little surprised when early one morning someone excitedly shouted, "Arnold Schwarzenegger just joined TikTok." It was big news because Arnold wasn't getting paid or asked to do it. He just heard about the app and posted some videos for fun. This generated free publicity for TikTok and proved to them they were reaching a tipping point. They were no longer having to pay stars to join. TikTok was becoming the place to be, with even celebrities now voluntarily joining the app. But despite all of this marketing we've just talked about, perhaps the biggest reason for TikTok's sudden growth was something completely out of their control. Locked at home with not much else to do, TikTok became the go-to app. Kids even got their parents using it and doing challenges together. TikTok's growth had already been explosive, but the pandemic just added fuel to the fire. It's reported that during lockdowns, the average TikTok user opened the app 8 different times every day. Suddenly, TikTok was on a faster growth trajectory than YouTube, and Bydance's international expansion had gone unimaginably well. But here's the thing. During TikTok's rapid global expansion, multiple issues had been bubbling under the surface. And in the blink of an eye, all of their hard work was about to come crashing down. In 2019, India banned TikTok due to claims of spreading explicit content. Overnight, TikTok lost around 200 million users. Pakistan soon banned them too. TikTok would eventually manage to appeal the decision, only for them to get banned again just a few months later, on the grounds that they were stealing and surreptitiously transmitting users' data outside of the country. But this was just the start of a domino effect, where more and more governments around the world started raising concerns about TikTok. Specifically, what data is TikTok actually collecting, and what is it doing with that data? Everyone had their own theories on this. A popular Reddit post claimed to have reverse-engineered the app, and stated it was essentially a data collection service that's thinly veiled as a social network. An iOS update also meant that users would be alerted when an app accesses their clipboard. Soon, videos emerged of TikTok reading almost every bit of info that was copied on someone's device, even if they weren't using the app. The US Secretary of State claimed TikTok was among a number of Chinese apps feeding data directly to the Chinese Communist Party. The US government then opened a national security review of the platform after both a Democrat and Republican lawmaker suggested it posed a serious risk, and that it could be surveillance software for the Chinese government. A senator also described it as a Trojan horse, whilst the Financial Times reported that Bydance were trying to circumvent Apple's privacy policies.
The Android version includes code that allows for the downloading of remote zip files, unzips them, and executes the apps inside arbitrarily.
TikTok asks for access to your videos, your photos, your microphone, your camera, and your contacts.
TikTok also collects information about the messages that you send, about the apps that you use, the other apps on your phone. It collects the sites that you visit. It collects your search history. It collects your keystrokes. It collects your location data.
Wait, hold on. Collecting obscene amounts of data is unfortunately a pretty common practice, especially by social media platforms. So why was everyone freaking out? Well, China's national intelligence law requires all companies within its borders to hand over data at its request without the need for a warrant. In fact, the government can literally take ownership of your company if they choose to. So yes, most people have accepted big tech have loads of our data. But the idea of the Chinese government having all of our personal data seemed more worrying, especially given how much data TikTok collects. But again, let's hold up. This is one side of the story. Here's the other side of the story. TikTok have repeatedly stated that they are not a Chinese company. Yes, Bydance, the parent company, is, but they created a whole separate app and company for TikTok that's not based in China, and thus not under their rules. TikTok state they have never given data to the Chinese government and never will. It could also be argued that everything going on with countries banning and threatening TikTok wasn't really about TikTok. This was about the rise of China. TikTok was unfairly caught in the middle of a political battle between several governments, and it was just being used as a pawn in a game of geopolitical chess. Sure, TikTok collects a lot of data, but that's because their whole app is built around understanding you better to show you more tailored videos, not because they're surveillance for the Chinese. Many of the accusations against them were just theoretical fears rather than actual evidence. But despite that, it seemed that in some Western countries, TikTok was becoming public enemy number one, especially in the US, where Trump ran ads saying TikTok is spying on you. And then
the U.S. will ban these apps within 45 days unless they are taken over by an American company. Of course, we know that Microsoft is currently in talks to buy some of TikTok's operations in countries like the U.S., Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. In this executive order, Trump cited some of the things we already know that U.S. officials are worried about when it comes to these apps, things like national security concerns, how they collect data.
TikTok were told they had to find a US buyer or else they'd be shut down. Many TikTok stars who'd built a career for themselves using the platform were panicked. But soon it looked like Microsoft was going to swoop in and buy the American branch of TikTok, so that the app could continue. Right at the last minute though, Trump suggested he wouldn't sign off on it unless a lot of money went to the US Treasury, so the deal fell apart. Next, it looked like Oracle was about to buy TikTok. A deal was agreed, and then again, right at the last minute, Trump announced Bydance would be creating a $5 billion education fund as part of the deal, which Bydance was completely unaware of. So once again, the deal fell through. Meanwhile, Bydance and TikTok were suing Trump and the US government in a hope to delay the ban until after the 2020 US election. And when Joe Biden took over as president, TikTok thought all of their problems were about to fade away. But instead, Biden signed an executive order for deeper investigations. So whilst there was no immediate ban, the threat still very much looms over TikTok. The irony of all of this though, is that whilst many in the West were calling Bydance a puppet for the Chinese government, the Chinese government were acting just as viciously towards Bydance themselves. China completely banned one of Bydance's other apps that was meant for jokes and memes because they claimed it had vulgar content. Bydance really was facing attacks from all directions. But what's most interesting of all is that whilst the entire world was busy debating TikTok's data policies, they were completely missing something much more sinister.
Has anyone else noticed that your For You page has been a little too accurate lately? It hasn't been things that I'll Google or I talk about, it's been thoughts.
An algorithm designed to give people more of what they want sounds great in theory, until you really stop to think about it. For example, what happens when a paedophile joins the app and what they want to see is underage girls dancing provocatively?
If you're looking at a lot of kids dancing sexually, it's going to give you more kids dancing sexually.
Here's a video showing a young girl in class on the floor in her school uniform. It's attracted hundreds of comments, mainly from much older men.
Now, it's worth acknowledging TikTok are not alone in these issues. YouTube had a predator scandal of its own due to its recommendation algorithm, where old men would be watching clips of young children on YouTube, so the algorithm recommends them more of that content. Worse still, they would link each other to certain videos and timestamps in the comments, which led to YouTube having to disable all comments on kids' videos. But with TikTok, the problems were exacerbated further by the fact you can privately message users, plus the fact that around 1 in 4 users of TikTok are believed to be under 17. On a related note, TikTok have already paid millions of dollars to authorities for knowingly collecting private info about children without parental consent. They also had to pay out many more millions when some data got leaked, including private details about children as young as 6 years old. TikTok's predator problem is merely one example of how their powerful algorithm can send people, often young kids, down incredibly dark rabbit holes. A second example is how easily kids can be exposed to disturbing videos. For example, this reporter set up a brand new TikTok account pretending to be a 13-year-old. She didn't like or follow anything, and yet before long,
the app showed me this clip of a confrontation in the street. I lingered on the video, but didn't press like. Before long, I was being fed a stream of videos of people screaming profanities, a violent assault, and a young man lying bloodied in the street. And TikTok thinks I'm 13.
A third example of a dangerous rabbit hole is depressive content. If the algorithm realizes that what you engage with most is sad videos, your feed will become increasingly dark and depressing. In fact, one report found that within just half an hour, 93% of videos you get shown will be depression related, if those are the type of videos you engage with most. In TikTok's defense, the algorithm is simply trying to give the user the content it engages with the most, that keeps them on the platform the longest. It's not deliberately doing anything bad. But if you're already depressed, you probably would linger on the sad videos, which means you'll get sadder and sadder content. Your feed will be filled with the bleakest and darkest corners of TikTok, a lot of which is totally unmoderated, including videos encouraging suicide. Even within popular viral TikToks, there have been multiple challenges promoting something dangerous.
Stupid TikTok Benadryl overdose challenge. Somebody's died from this already.
Another example is the promotion of completely unsafe products. One girl who struggled with an eating disorder found that her feed was filled with videos advertising unregulated weight loss pills and harmful crash diets. When she made a video calling TikTok out for allowing this content, the post got deleted.
Because I said this app is promoting eating disorders.
Which brings us to yet another issue some people have with TikTok: censorship. Moderators on TikTok were told to restrict or shadow ban videos from users who appeared ugly, poor, or disabled. For example, their moderation guidelines said to restrict content from people who were chubby, having Down syndrome, or simply posting in a poor or dilapidated location. A spokesperson later said this was to try and prevent cyberbullying. Although others have argued that TikTok was simply trying to get content on their platform they felt was more desirable. The people behind the algorithm have godlike powers when it comes to controlling what TikTok's billions of users actually get to see. Another example of TikTok controlling the type of content on its platform came when The Guardian uncovered that TikTok was restricting content relating to the independence of Tibet and Taiwan, along with subjects like the Tiananmen Square protests. In other words, TikTok censors videos that they know won't please the Chinese government. Some say this is to try and advance China's foreign policy aims. But the most likely reality is Bydance simply don't want to annoy the Chinese government any further, after they already banned one of their popular apps. The truth is, TikTok can't really win here. Some think TikTok is stifling free speech, especially since they announced plans to hire thousands more employees to their censorship and moderation teams. But on the other side, other people feel TikTok is not doing enough to control what gets posted, and that they have a big problem with misinformation.
Because TikTok videos can easily go viral, there's also the risk that users will wittingly or unwittingly share information that's false. And once it spreads, it can be really difficult to stop.
Now again, let's be clear. Many of these problems are incredibly difficult for TikTok to deal with. And they certainly do seem to be trying. And it should also be acknowledged that the vast majority of users don't have problems like this. But that's the most worrying part. Because everyone's feed is so different, many people don't even know about the darker corners of TikTok. A parent using the app will see a wildly different feed to what their kids may see. A person who's happy will see a wildly different feed to what a depressed person would see. To summarize, the TikTok algorithm really is incredible at giving you content that will keep you watching longer, no matter how dark or disturbing that content is. However, despite all of these issues, predators, dark rabbit holes, dangerous challenges, censorship, bullying, and plenty of other problems, TikTok has become the world's hottest platform. And from a business perspective, it's a clear success story, and now one of the world's largest private companies. So, to understand how Bydance achieved that so quickly, despite all of these issues, there's one final piece of the puzzle we need to talk about. That's perhaps the most crucial piece of all. Vine, an app that only allowed videos up to 6 seconds long, was created in 2012, the same year that Bydance started. Vine got acquired by Twitter before it even officially launched, and when the app went live in 2013, they rapidly built up an active user base. Considering this was several years before Bydance would create TikTok, Vine looked perfectly positioned to dominate the short video market. But by 2015, Vine had a big problem. All their top creators were becoming increasingly frustrated, since Vine offered no way to monetize their content. The top creators felt they'd helped make Vine a success, and the Vine team was basically ignoring them. So the creators started posting Vines to direct people to their other social media instead. Concerned, the Vine team agreed to a meeting with 18 of the top creators, and heard their demands. The creators wanted to be paid $1.2 million a year to post 3 Vines a week. Internally, the Twitter team were very worried about this idea. They figured if they started dishing out money to content creators on Vine, it would set a precedent, and people would start wanting money for tweets as well. But they knew losing all of their biggest content creators would look terrible, so they were considering it. Until they realized that the top Vine stars didn't want $1.2 million to split between them, they wanted $1.2 million each. And considering Vine was making a loss at this point, it just wasn't possible. So the top stars of the platform left, Vine continued to struggle for money, and by 2017, the app was officially dead. Ironically, this was the year TikTok launched. You see, Bydance had been observing carefully, and Vine's brief moment in the sun had proven the demand for short videos, but also highlighted two important lessons. Number 1, don't ignore your best creators, find a sustainable way to pay them. And number 2, don't let them get too powerful. Now, there are many reasons for TikTok's success. The vast amounts of money it spent, its powerful algorithm, fortunate timing, good management, clear strategy, a fair bit of luck, and many more. But one of the biggest factors of all was that TikTok truly focused on creators right from day one. At the beginning, they'd even invite users to the Bydance offices to chat, get feedback, and create videos together. Bydance had learned a lot of lessons from Vine, but the biggest of all was about building a creator economy within its app. A whole ecosystem where new creators had a real shot at going viral, and the top creators had a way to profit so they'd stay loyal. And in order to do that, TikTok figured out a way to do the one thing Vine never could: make a hell of a lot of money. Eventually, the big tech giants realized TikTok posed a serious threat to them, which is why just about every social media app launched a service that was essentially a TikTok clone. Instagram launched Reels, Facebook launched Lasso, Snapchat launched Spotlight, YouTube launched Shorts, and so on. In fact, Instagram even announced they're no longer a photo sharing app, with many articles pointing out they're trying to become TikTok. But it was too little too late. By that point, TikTok was $1 billion app. Firstly, TikTok obviously monetized with ads in the video feed. But because the videos were longer than Vine's, it was much easier to attract advertisers, especially because the ads look very similar to normal videos. There's just a tiny yellow ad sticker in the corner. So this means brands can make their ads look like user-generated content and get much higher engagement, as often people don't even realize they're watching an ad. TikTok can also charge higher amounts to advertisers because they have so much data about what each person likes, so the ads can be very targeted. Secondly, TikTok created a built-in creator marketplace, connecting businesses and creators together so they could make brand deals. And this was the ultimate win-win-win. For creators, it gave them an easy and direct way to make money within the app. For advertisers, it allowed them to easily find relevant creators for their brand, view their profile stats, and make a secure payment without risk of getting scammed. And finally for TikTok, it not only made their app more appealing, but also meant they could keep tabs on exactly what deals were being made, and take a share of the revenue for themselves. Thirdly, TikTok monetized with sponsored brand challenges. For example, Samsung worked with TikTok to create the Video Snap Challenge, where you take 3 different pictures and it merges them into a single image. The catch is, this feature is only available on Samsung Galaxy S21 phones. So basically, TikTok have found ways to blur the lines between what's content and what's an advertisement, which means they can charge brands a lot more money. But interestingly, if we look at the Chinese version of TikTok, we can see that Bydance have plenty more monetization tricks up their sleeve that they soon might be bringing over to TikTok. Most notably of all is how Bydance is planning on disrupting e-commerce. Yep, Bydance is not just taking on social media giants, now they're taking on Amazon. Here's how it works. Let's say you're browsing TikTok and you see a video with some cherries in it, and they look delicious. Well, TikTok will show you a pop-up with a button to buy cherries. Your payment card and address will already be registered, so you won't even need to leave the app to buy them. Of course, this shopping feature can work with anything, since TikTok's AI can tell exactly what's being shown in the video, and show you a related item that you can buy. Essentially, they want to blur the lines between content and shopping. And it's easy to see how this can lead to a lot of impulse purchases, since you won't need to go actively looking for things to buy. The Chinese version of TikTok reported they had nearly $30 million worth of sales using this feature on a single day in December 2018. The feature is very popular in China already and will likely become much more widely used on TikTok as well, especially because Bydance have already entered into partnerships with big companies like Walmart and L'Oreal. But it goes further. They're even experimenting with features like food delivery within the app, proving there is endless potential ways to monetize the billions of users TikTok now has. And thus, Bydance's focus on building a lucrative business, rather than just a popular app, is what separates it from Vine and many other short-form video apps that were similar but never made it. So whilst many people seem to think of TikTok as just another Vine, a fad that will come and go, TikTok is already far more successful than Vine could have ever even dreamed of. In fact, I would like to put forward to you an entirely different opinion. This is just the beginning of TikTok. And I'd like to tell you a short story to prove it. In 2018, Montero Hill was unemployed, had no money, and was sleeping on the floor of his sister's house. He dropped out of college to pursue his dream of becoming a famous rap artist, and it was going terribly. Nothing was working, nobody knew him, and he didn't have a record label, so was recording songs out of his nan's closet. Up until one day, where a small influencer used one of his songs in a TikTok video. That song was Old Town Road. Montero, better known as Lil Nas X, suddenly had his life completely changed. Old Town Road went viral on TikTok, with people dressing up as cowboys to fit the theme of the song. Old Town Road then went on to become one of the most successful songs of all time, and it was all thanks to TikTok. In fact, TikTok has had a real impact on the entire music industry. It's a new way for artists to get their music heard. Record companies are even paying influencers to use their songs in TikTok videos. And TikTok themselves offer an expensive service where they will craft a challenge around a specific song to help to get more people to hear it. Doja Cat is just one example of an artist whose success was masterminded by TikTok. Because of all the data TikTok have, they've also been advising record companies which songs off an album should be released as singles, because they can see which songs users are saving most often. But this goes even further. Some artists are now even writing songs with TikTok in mind, thinking about how the lyrics or music could be turned into some kind of TikTok challenge or meme. Now, let's zoom out for a second. This story about the music industry highlights two things. Number one, TikTok provides an opportunity for content creators of all kinds to get more visibility than they normally would on other platforms. In fact, there's countless jobs and careers TikTok is helping, and many lives it's transforming. Not to mention the billions of active users who are entertained by TikTok every day. So whilst it's easy for us to look at the dark side of TikTok, there are also countless people who have been very positively impacted by the app.
You can post one video and instantly, overnight, be viral.
It's given an insane and kind of unexpected opportunity to a lot of young people to kind of express their opinions.
But the second thing this music example reveals is that Bydance have much bigger plans than just being a content platform. They want to disrupt everything. Short videos is just the start. The obvious next step is long-form video, which is why the Chinese version of TikTok is allowing videos up to 15 minutes long. But Bydance have a totally separate app called Watermelon, specifically designed for longer content, that should not only have YouTube worried, but also streaming giants like Netflix. Bydance have already made licensing deals with the BBC, PBS, and many more. They even hired the ex-head of Disney+. But Bydance's plans are much bigger than video. Bydance have been very vocal about entering the gaming market, and have bought multiple game publishing companies already. At one point, 3 of the top 5 mobile games in China were from Bydance. They also recently announced plans to hire over 10,000 new employees for some new education-related apps. They're even entering financial technology, cloud hosting, and search. Bydance also already have a business software called Lark, which combines email, chat, video calls, calendars, and cloud document storage. They also quietly launched a new division called Bydance Plus, which sells AI to other businesses. In China, Bydance are also doubling down on their messaging apps, and have started putting huge ads for their apps all over the Chinese version of TikTok. You can certainly expect that at some point, Bydance will start directing TikTok users to some of their many other apps and services. Because whilst TikTok was their first big international hit, it's just the beginning. It's a tool that will help them build their empire. Most people have never even heard of Bydance, and just think of TikTok as some silly short video app. But let's be clear, Bydance already have over 110,000 employees in over 200 cities around the world, and are expanding rapidly into more industries than anyone can keep track of. Truthfully, it's impossible to know for sure exactly where Bydance is heading, and how powerful they're going to become. But one thing is clear, Zhang Yiming's dream of building a company as borderless as Google has become a reality.